Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Pearl Lemon SEO and YouTube channel, brought to you by me, Z, and delivered to you by YouTube, I suppose. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at things a little bit more academically once more. In today's video, we're going to be looking at what you should be looking at when designing a website, but also how to help narrow down your target market for your website. Okay, it's something that I'm starting to notice a lot in a lot of clients, is that they want to go for a broad, overarching net, trying to catch as many people as possible with their search intent, or they're going too hyper specific on one specific market, ignoring everything else. A good middle ground is what I call the 70-30 rule. So hyper focus on 70%, like put 70% of your focus on getting one specific target market, but leave a 30% open just broad enough that you can sometimes pick up other things as well. Okay, in this video, we're going to be going through a couple of things that I do. Web intent, tone, or website intent, sorry, tone, target audience, specific characteristics, area, and delivery. Okay, so in this video, we're going to go through this, and then tomorrow's video, we'll go through the keywords using this as a sort of guide. But to start off with, what is our website going to be about? All right, so I'll just say here it's going to be a gaming site, right? For reviews and news. Okay, so this website is going to be for gaming. All right, so we're going to want to review games. We're going to want to deliver the latest in gaming news, but that in and of itself is too broad of a topic. All right, we've got plenty of people that do that. Young, yeah, um, IGN, Game Informer, Gamers Nexus, Gamers Hardware, Hardware Unboxed. All of these people already do this. All right, so we can use them as an example for what it is we want to do. Now, what is the website's intent? Okay, now I'm just going to stretch this out a little bit. So basically here, we're just going to put into words what it is this website should be all about. And I'm going through this with you. This isn't some planned thing because I want to see and show you guys just exactly how one works. So for example, for this website, let's say we want to deliver reliable, reliable and honest reviews without the financial, or rather without the incentive delivered by gaming gaming companies. All right, for those of you that don't know, a lot of gaming companies offer incentives for you to review the game early. For example, if you're a big enough news person or a YouTuber, you might be flown out. You know, they'll pay for your flight, they'll pay for your renovations, they'll pay for your rented car, they'll pay for everything to get you to talk about the game in the most positive light. There are plenty of people who do this, and within gaming journalism in general, um, it's a huge problem because that's why you get these soft reviews on games that are trying to take people's money. All right, so this website's intent is to deliver reliable and honest reviews without the incentives delivered by gaming companies. So basically, we want to give as honest and open and true a review as possible that we possibly can. Okay, that's our goal. That's our website's intent. If somebody comes to our website, we should have the reputation after a while that this is going to be an honest and open take without any of the frills. We're trying to look at this as objectively as possible. And if there is any personal biases, we'll be as honest as possible about them. Okay? Then, the tone of the website, all right? How is the website's tone? Okay? How are these things going to be delivered? All right? So, sorry about that. So, the tone of the website. How is everything being delivered? Okay? This has to deal a lot with how we want to be perceived. Do we want to be super professional? Okay? Because that's going to help us target a specific audience. Do we want to be a bit more carefree and friendly? Do we want to be semi-casual? Do we want to be, mean and rude? What kind of tone do we want to sit with our website? This is super important because this is going to help us determine the placement or future of this website's reputation in general. Okay. Um, so what we're going to do here is we're going to do a serious, semi-serious, but casual. Casual, pointing out what needs to be pointed out, but having fun while doing it. Okay, so basically we are going to be serious about this. We're going to be serious about our games. We're going to give it a hard hitting, true news that we need to. But at the same time, we're not going to be absolutely serious about it. We don't want to be too serious. We want to make sure that people know what they're getting their money's worth when they're buying these games. But at the same time, we want to ensure that they have fun while doing it. We're not a news network. We're just a couple of guys or a couple of people who are making videos and making blogs and talking about the things that we love. All right. This is not meant to be some super serious multimedia. We're by the people for the people, if that makes sense. Okay. And our target audience, gamers, obviously, but specifically, but also those who are not gamers. All right. So one of the things that I remember when I was a kid is that I really loved gaming, but my parents understood absolutely nothing about it. So they would sometimes look at these reviews and say, "Okay, you know what should I buy my son? What should I buy my brother? Like, what should they buy my brothers?" So this was the kind of thing that they thought about, and they sometimes use sites like IGN and that to find it. And they didn't know an IGN from a GameStop, but they thought about it, and they just thought, okay, this looks cool. I'll just buy this and give it as a gift. Okay, and I was privileged enough to have that, but a lot of people, like I remember, you know, people buying one game and having that one game for like ages, playing the absolute, you know, junk out of that game until the disc was scratched and it didn't want to work anymore because it was one thing that they got very, very rarely. Okay, so now we're going to be looking at our specific characteristics of our games. All right, fun-loving gamers, um, not platform specific. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm putting out specific characteristics that I want to target in people. Okay, so first and foremost, I want to have people who are fun gamers, right? I don't want super serious people visiting my website and making my website toxic. I want it to be not platform specific, so I want to be able to talk about any game in general. So if I want to play a game on the Nintendo Switch, or I want to play something on the PS5, or want to play something on PC, it doesn't matter what platform it is on. It is going to be like targeted specifically at people who just want to have fun with games. And as I think about this and I brainstorm this more, it's going to expand out. Okay, eventually we might have 20 columns here. But for now, this is just a general overarching thing you should do when designing your website. Okay, then we're going to look at area. Okay, I already know EU and US. All right, so the most of the Western world. Okay, now I live in Africa, but in general, the Western world is where I'm targeting. I'm not really going to target Japan or Korea or China or anywhere really in Asia because that is a completely different market, okay? And I don't really speak those languages. I can read Japanese, but I can't speak it, and I don't want to butcher the tongue, okay? So it's super important that we focus in on areas where we know we can deliver with the least amount of effort in, right? So we don't have to, for example, get somebody to translate the nuances of English into Japanese or create jokes and stuff specifically for a Japanese audience because that's not our target audience. We're writing this in an English speaking country, so we're going to target English speaking countries. Okay? And delivery. Okay, so how are we going to deliver this? Okay, so are we going to have the tone be light? This is similar to tone, but in more in the lines of, okay, let's take a look at this. How can we approach this? How can we do this? What is going to be the easiest way to do this? Okay, that's kind of like what we're aiming for in this general area here. So, for example, for delivery, we're going to say, for example, fun, casual, but with a hint of seriousness, right? So we are going to be fun, we're going to be casual, but our entire tone across the entire website, right? Tone, for example, can oftentimes refer to just like the general writing, but in delivery, it has to be across the entire website, okay? So if we take in all of this and we compare it to the various other websites there are, it gives us a good indication of who it is we're going to be targeting and how it is we're going to target them. If you do this in the beginning, this is a great way to start laying out things like, hey, colors. What kind of colors correlate with this in terms of color theory? What kind of fonts am I going to use that's going to give off these kinds of tones and appearances? what are other websites doing that I can do? Okay. Um, what characteristics, like for example, okay, what is the general feel, for example, for reviews in action games versus fighting games versus racing games versus sim games, right? What's the general atmosphere surrounding those communities? Because each of those communities are a part of the gaming community, but they're separate from that. Okay. So for example, if I wanted to write for example, on farming simulator, if I wanted to make an entire website dedicated to farming simulator, I need to know the culture that's within that community in order to deliver something that's going um, to resonate with that community. Okay, if I don't know League of Legends esports, for example, how can I run a League of Legends esports site? If I don't know, for example, the nuances of game development, how can I be writing an article on level design? So it's all of these things that slowly come together that allow you to say, okay, I'm targeting this one specific niche in this broader community. So there's going to be some overlap, but I'm not trying to hyper specifically focus in on one thing. For example, if you're doing a League of Legends website, you can write blogs, stories, all of these things about League of Legends. You can follow the news. And when it's esports season, you can focus specifically on esports. All right. So it's all about having these multiple layers, multiple sequences that allow you to target not just who you want to target, but the people surrounding them, and to ensure that in that off season, when maybe people aren't as interested in your service or product, you are still getting some form of traction, some form of revenue, some form of review. For example, if you take this into a realistic sequence where you're trying to sell a product, for example, that like if you're trying to sell festive decorations or stickers, you are going to target a specific market every time of year. So for Easter, you're going to be selling Easter things. For Christmas, you're going to be selling Christmas things. For Halloween, Halloween things. That's the kind of thing. But in between those periods, what are you doing to keep revenue up, to keep everything stable? What are you doing in between those lulls? What is your non-specific audience that's going to keep you firm and afloat? Because remember, 80% of your revenue is going to come from 20% of your clientele, because they're going to come to you to rely on you. If you guys are steak lovers like me, you buy your meat, your steaks from one specific butcher and one specific butcher only, if you can. All right, you know that you don't want to as somebody who boxes. You don't want to move around gyms all the time, because the people at that gym, the culture, the equipment, you get used to that. You become comfortable in that environment. You enjoy that environment because it's the atmosphere and you're used to it. So it's all of these little things, these little nuances of psychology and human interaction that can really broaden out who it is you're targeting and how you design everything. This can help you, for example, with color and fonts, like I said earlier, because those all have some form of study behind it, right? They're not the fully most scientific, but they are things about it that these people dedicate their time and energy to say, this shade of blue means this, this font represents this. So all of these things should be taken in as a whole for you to find your target market, target audience, and build out from there. Hope this was insightful. Hope this was helpful. I know this wasn't really focused on SEO entirely, but this also helped us, as you'll see tomorrow, select the keywords that we will need to target in order to grow in SEO. You've been wonderful, guys. Cheers, and I'll see you all tomorrow.